So this will be our next notes on multi-step inequalities. If you remember, inequalities are kind of like this thing we see down here. It has it's a mathematical statement or operation. It uses this sign. This one is the greater than sign, but it can be a less than sign. It can be greater than, equal to, and so on. That's what we're talking about, inequalities. So we're going to talk today about multi-step ones. This is lesson 5.3 in Algebra 1. And the thing to remember when you're doing these multi-step inequalities, so far we've been doing some with addition, subtraction, division, and so on. Now we're going to take all those steps, put several together to solve an inequality. And so remember that you usually do those by undoing the operation. So if you have, like here, you have 11 times y, you would then divide to undo that multiplication. And if you have addition, you might undo that by adding instead of subtracting. So, very good. So that's how. And also remember the rules about if you're dividing or multiplying by a negative number, that you have to change this inequality sign. So let's just do an example here of these multi-step ones, so you can kind of see how they're done. So this one here says 11y minus 13 is greater than 42. In the end, what we want to do is we want to make sure we have y is greater than some other number over here. And we might even end up with, maybe we have to multiply a negative number through or divide a negative number through. Then we might even change that to be less than. But we'll see here as we do it. So here we have 11y minus 13 is greater than 42. So we see here, we probably want to get y by itself first. Okay, so we want to add 13. We're going to undo the operation. We're minusing 13, so now we're going to add 13 to both sides. This will then cancel, and we'll have 11y is greater than 55. And now we're going to do division, because we have 11 times y. Now we're going to undo it by dividing by y. And then we're going to have y is greater than 5. And that's your answer. Then you can put it into this proper notation. We'd go y, draw a line, y is greater than 5, like that. And then we can also do a number line as well. We probably want to put a few lines on here, right? And we'll go with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 right in the middle. Y is greater than 5, so it's more than. We do the circle where it starts, and then it's going to go to the right. We don't fill the circle in because it's greater than, not equal to. So that's kind of the example. You just use some algebra. That's kind of a simple one. We're going to do some that are a little bit harder than that, and which I'll show you next. So here's an example of using the distributive property. If you remember, the distributive property is the idea, so if you have this number 4, it's outside this 3t minus 5 in parentheses, but we can then just distribute the 4 to the 3t and distribute the 4 to the 5 and play this all out how it should look. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to figure out this inequality, and it's a greater than or equal to. That makes it the inequality, and we're going to solve it where we get t on one side and a number on the other, and then we'll be able to write out the answer like we did here. So first thing, distributive property. So 4 times 3t is 12t. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. Then we're going to have plus 7 greater than, equal to 8t plus 3. So now we have this. So now we want to get the t's by themselves. It's always better to bring the t over to the left if you can. So we're going to minus 8t from both sides. You're going to do the opposite. Undo this positive with a negative. This will cancel. 12 minus 8 will give us 4t. And then we might want to do this at the same time. We have negative 20 plus 7. That's going to give us negative 13, greater than or equal to 3. Next thing we want to do is get rid of this negative 13 by doing the opposite. Add 13 to both sides. This will cancel. We'll end up with 4t is greater than or equal to 16. And then we're just going to do division. Divide by 4. T is greater than or equal to 4. Kind of gives us our answer. Then we could put it in the set form. We can say t, draw the line, and say t is greater than or equal to 4. And then we can do the number line right here. You can say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that on a number line. We're going to start with t is greater than or equal to 4. We'll put it there. We'll fill this in because it's also equal to it. It's going to be greater than, so we're going to the right. And there's your graphing on a number line. This is this complex problem. It all comes down to t is greater than or equal to 4. So then we got a couple more examples here. So we're going to look at an empty set, and then we're going to look at an answer that's going to be all real numbers. And we'll just go through these using some of the rules, and then we'll look at the answer we get at the end. So here we have this, and we're going to look if we see the distributive property. When we see that, we're going to want to undo that. We're just going to, again, we're going to multiply the 5 through these things inside here, the 4 times these things inside here. So we'll just rewrite it here now. So 9t is going to be negative 5 times t minus 5t, negative 5 times negative 5 plus 25, less than or equal to 4 times t, 4t minus 12. That's kind of what we have, this distributive property undone. And then we're going to do some things on maybe on both sides first. 9t minus 5t is going to be 4t, and then plus 25 greater than or equal to 4t minus 12. And then look, we have these are the same. If we want to move, let's just move this t over here. Over there, we're going to go minus 4t, cancels, and what we get is 25 is less than or equal to 12. And then we ask, is that true? It's not true. So we really say it's an empty set. No answer for this one. There's no way to find an answer. So we don't have to worry about writing our set out or a number line because there is no answer. So then if we look at another possibility, which is this one here, is there's no answer, and we'll see what happens here. So again, we have the distributive property. Let's undo that. 3 times 4m is going to be 12m. 3 times 6 is plus 18, less than or equal to 42, and we're going to be 6 times 2m plus 12m minus 24. Okay, got that. And then we're going to collect things on each side if we can first. So nothing, it's just 12m plus 18, less than or equal to. Then we got 42, and then we got 24. So we're going to end up with, looks like, what is it, 24 minus, looks like 18, I guess, right? So we do this here, 42 minus 24, we go 18, and then plus 12m. And then we're going to see, let's just move the 12m over, minus 12m, both sides. Look what happens, cancels. But instead of being this thing where they're not equal to each other, here we have 18 is less than or equal to 18. They're equal to each other. They are. So when you have that, that means any number, you can, all real numbers. So any real number, you plug it in for m, it'll make this number always less than or equal to this side. So those are kind of the conditions. These are multi-step inequalities. I hope that makes a lot of sense to you. We did kind of the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and just remember if you're doing division or multiplication by a negative number that you have to change the direction of the inequality sign. And add these to your notebook and you're good.